The alarm stopped screaming across the Vakreen warship. Commander Raxthor stood on the bridge, watching the damaged human vessel floating in the darkness of space. His forearms were crossed in satisfaction. After 3 years of searching, they had finally caught one. "Target is disabled, Commander," his weapons officer reported. "No signs of defensive systems active." Raxthor's scales rippled with pleasure. The Vakreen Empire had been trying to capture a human for so long. These strange beings from a distant world called Earth had appeared in their territory 5 years ago. They were secretive, powerful, and frightening. Every attempt to communicate ended in silence. Every attempt to track them failed. Until today. "Send the boarding team," Raxthor ordered. "I want that human alive." The boarding craft detached from the flagship and crossed the empty space between the two ships. Inside, 20 Vakreen soldiers gripped their weapons tightly. They had been trained for this moment. Humans were supposed to be dangerous fighters. The stories said they were relentless, brutal, and clever. The craft attached to the damaged ship's hull with a metallic clang. The soldiers cut through the airlock and poured inside, weapons raised and ready, but the ship was quiet. Emergency lights flickered in the corridors. The air smelled of burnt electronics and something else, something organic. The soldiers moved carefully through the narrow passages, checking every corner. They found him in the command center. He was sitting in the captain's chair, hands visible on the armrests. He wore a torn uniform with strange symbols on it. He was smaller than the Vakreen expected, maybe 2 meters tall with pale skin and dark hair. His eyes were calm as he watched the soldiers surround him. "I surrender," the human said in perfect Vakreen language. The soldiers looked at each other in confusion. No fight, no resistance. Something felt wrong. "Stand up slowly," the team leader ordered. "Keep your hands where we can see them." The human obeyed. He moved with careful precision, never making any sudden movements. The soldiers bound his hands with energy cuffs and searched him for weapons. They found nothing. His ship was a wreck, systems destroyed, drives offline. He was alone. "What is your name?" the team leader demanded. "Lee Minho," the human answered. "Captain, serial number 77492 Alpha." They brought him back to the flagship. Raxthor watched through the cameras as the human walked calmly through the corridors, escorted by a dozen guards. He didn't struggle. He didn't even look nervous. "Put him in detention cell 7, Raxthor ordered. "Maximum security." The news spread through the Vakreen fleet within minutes. They had captured a human. A living, breathing human. The first one ever taken alive. Raxthor immediately sent a message to the High Command on the homeworld. This was a moment of history. The celebration began across Vakreen space. For years, humans had been the unknown terror in the darkness. They appeared without warning, their ships impossibly fast. They never lost battles. They never surrendered. Until now. Raxthor walked to the detention level with his second-in-command, Captain Kim Doyen. Doyen was the fleet's best interrogator, cold and methodical. If anyone could break the human, it was him. "What do you think?" Raxthor asked as they approached the cell. "I think it's too easy," Doyen said quietly. "Humans don't surrender." His ship was destroyed. He had no choice. Maybe. They stopped at the cell door. Through the transparent barrier, they could see the human sitting on the bed. He was staring at the ceiling, completely relaxed. "We also have the other human," Raxthor said. "The scientist we captured 2 years ago, Dr. Park Ji-won. She can help us understand him." Doyen nodded. "Bring her in." Dr. Park Ji-won arrived 30 minutes later, flanked by guards. She was a small woman with tired eyes and gray hair. The Vakreen had captured her ship near the edge of their territory and kept her alive because of her knowledge. She had taught them about human biology, human culture, human language. She had been cooperative, hoping to survive. But when the guards brought her to the observation room outside the detention cell, her face went pale. "What's wrong?" Raxthor demanded. Ji-won stared at the human through the glass. Her hand started shaking. "Where did you find him?" "Near the Orion Spur. His ship was damaged." "Why, do you know him?" "His name," Ji-won whispered. "What's his name?" "Lee Minho. He's a captain." Ji-won took a step back. She looked like she might faint. "You need to kill him. Right now. Don't ask questions. Don't interrogate him. Just kill him and destroy the body." Raxthor's scales darkened with anger. "Explain yourself." "That man," Ji-won pointed at the cell with a trembling finger. "That man is a war criminal. He's not a soldier. He's not a captain. He's a mass murderer. He killed 40 million people. 40 million. The room went silent. Doyen stepped closer to the glass, studying the human with new eyes. He's lying to you, Jiwan continued, her voice rising. His ship wasn't damaged by accident. He's here on purpose. And if you're smart, you'll space him before he... Enough, Raxthor snapped. You're hysterical. Look at him. He's one unarmed human in a cell surrounded by 300 Vakreen soldiers. What can he possibly do? Jiwan closed her eyes. You don't understand. The things he did. The things he's capable of. Then you'll help us learn, Raxthor interrupted. You'll tell us everything about him. His strengths. His weaknesses. How to make him talk. Inside the cell, Lee Minho stood up. He walked to the transparent barrier and looked directly at them. His expression didn't change. He showed no anger, no fear, no emotion at all. He just looked at them like a scientist looking at insects. Then he smiled. It was a small smile, polite and cold. Commander Raxthor, Minho said clearly, his voice carrying through the speakers. Has anyone told you about Proxima 7 yet? Raxthor frowned. What is Proxima 7? Minho's smile widened just a fraction. Dr. Park knows. Don't you, Doctor? Jiwan put her hand over her mouth. Her eyes filled with tears. Proxima 7, Minho continued, still looking at them with those empty, calm eyes, was where I learned that fear is the most efficient weapon. Would you like me to teach you? The lights in the detention level flickered once. Raxthor told himself it was just a power fluctuation. Nothing more, but deep in his chest his primary heart beat faster. Captain Kim Doyen sat across from the human in the interrogation room. The space was small and cold, designed to make prisoners uncomfortable. But Lee Minho looked perfectly calm. He sat with his hands folded on the table, waiting patiently. Tell me about Earth, Doyen said. Minho nodded. What would you like to know? Everything. Your military structure, your population, your technology. Of course, Minho leaned back in his chair. Earth has a population of 11 billion humans. We have one unified government formed after the Unification War. Our military is divided into 5 fleets, each protecting a different sector of our territory. Doyen made notes on his datapad. This was too easy. The human was answering every question without hesitation. Why are you cooperating? Doyen asked. Minho tilted his head slightly. Because you're going to learn these things eventually. Better to be honest now and save us both time. For 3 hours, Minho talked. He explained human biology, human culture, human history. He described their ships, their weapons, their tactics. He drew diagrams of human anatomy. He even told jokes to explain human humor. Doyen listened carefully, looking for lies. But everything the human said matched what Dr. Park had told them over the past 2 years. Either Minho was telling the truth or he was an incredibly skilled liar. Tell me about Proxima 7, Doyen said suddenly. Minho's expression didn't change. What has Dr. Park told you? Nothing. She refuses to discuss it. Then perhaps you should respect her silence. You brought it up, Doyen reminded him. You wanted us to know about it. Minho was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, 12 years ago, humanity fought its first interstellar war. Our enemy was a species called the Kryn Collective. They were powerful, organized, and they wanted to destroy us. And Proxima 7? It was a Kryn colony world. 40 million civilians lived there. I was ordered to destroy their military installations. Minho paused. I decided to end the war instead. How? I used their own atmospheric processors against them. Changed the chemical composition of their air. Made it toxic. 40 million Kryn died in 72 hours. I recorded everything and sent the footage to the Kryn High Command. They surrendered immediately. Doyen felt his blood go cold. You committed genocide. I ended a war that would have killed billions, Minho corrected. The Kryn were planning a full invasion of Earth. Military projections estimated 200 million human casualties over 10 years of fighting. I reduced that to 0 in 3 days. By murdering 40 million innocent people. Yes. The simple, emotionless answer was somehow worse than any justification. Doyen stood up and left the room without another word. Outside, Commander Raxthor was waiting with Dr. Park. Well? Raxthor demanded. He's a monster, Doyen said quietly. But is he telling the truth? Doyen looked at Dr. Park. Is he? She nodded slowly, her face gray. After Proxima 7, Earth's government put him on trial. He was convicted of war crimes. They sent him to a black site prison in deep space. Maximum isolation. He was supposed to stay there for the rest of his life. Supposed to? Raxthor asked. G1 pulled up a file on her datapad and handed it to him. This is his official record from Earth's military database. I accessed it last night. Raxthor read the file. His scales paled. This says he's dead. Killed in a prison riot 8 months ago. I know. Then who is in our cell? That's what I've been trying to tell you, G1 said, her voice shaking. That man should be dead. If he's alive, it means Earth let him out. And if Earth let him out, there's a reason. Doyen grabbed the datapad and scrolled through the file. There were psychological evaluations, medical records, security reports. One section made him stop. Subject demonstrates no emotional response to stimuli associated with suffering. IQ measured at 187. Empathy quotient, 0.3. This places subject in the clinical range for sociopathy. Recommendation: subject should never be released under any circumstances. He does not feel guilt. He does not feel remorse. He views other living beings as mathematical problems to be solved. He's been lying to us, Raxthor said. No, G1 corrected. He's been telling the truth. That's what makes him dangerous. He answers every question because he doesn't care what you know. Information doesn't help you against him. Raxthor turned to his guards. Increase security around the detention level. I want 50 soldiers watching him at all times. Commander, Doyen said carefully, we should consider Dr. Park's original advice. Kill him now. And look weak in front of the High Command. Never, we've captured a human. We're going to learn everything we can from him. Then execute him publicly. Show the entire Empire that humans can be defeated. Ji-Wan closed her eyes. You're making a mistake. That night, Doyen couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the file, about Minho's calm face, about the way he had smiled when mentioning Proxima 7. Something was wrong. The pieces didn't fit. He got up and went to the detention level. The guards let him through to the observation room. Through the glass, he could see Minho lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling. I know you're watching, Minho said without moving. Doyen activated the intercom. How do you know? The guards breathe differently when officers are present. They stand straighter, and you're the only one who comes here at night. Minho turned his head to look at the camera. You're trying to figure me out. Why are you here? Doyen asked bluntly. You captured me. No, your ship wasn't destroyed by accident. You could have escaped. You're here on purpose. Why? Minho sat up. You're smarter than your commander. That's good. You might survive what comes next. What comes next? I need to thank your commander, actually. I've been so bored for the last 8 months. Prison is terribly dull, and you've brought me a whole new species to study. The words hit Doyen like a physical blow. Study? I've observed 47 different alien species. I understand how they think, how they fight, how they break. But I've never met the Vakreen before. You're new? Interesting. Minho stood up and walked closer to the glass. Tell me, Captain, what do you value more, honor or survival? What kind of question is that? An important one. The Kryn valued honor. They wouldn't surrender even when surrender was logical, so I had to show them something more terrifying than dishonor. I had to show them extinction. Minho pressed his hand against the glass. What will I have to show you? Doyen backed away from the window. His hands were shaking. You should run, Minho said softly, while you still can. Tell your family to run, because your commander is going to refuse to release me, and when he does, I'm going to teach him the same lesson I taught the Kryn. You're one man in a cell. Yes, Minho agreed. Just like I was one man on Proxima 7, just one man with a plan. He smiled that cold, empty smile again. Do you know what I've been doing for the past 3 days while you've been interrogating me? What? Counting? Your guards change shifts every 8 hours. 3 shifts, 15 soldiers per shift. 45 total. Their weapons are plasma rifles, Model 7. Good at range, poor in close quarters. The detention level has 6 security cameras. The ventilation system connects to the main ship. Your ship is 300 years old, a Reknar-class dreadnought. I know every weakness in the design. Doyen felt ice in his stomach. You can't escape. It's impossible. I don't need to escape, Captain. I'm exactly where I want to be. Minho returned to his bed and lay down. Go back to sleep. You have 47 hours before everything changes. 47 hours until what? But Minho closed his eyes and didn't answer. Doyen ran from the detention level. He had to tell Raxthor. They had to kill this human immediately, but in his heart he knew it was already too late. The alarm screamed through the ship at midnight. Prisoner has escaped detention. All security teams respond. Commander Raxthor bolted upright in his quarters. He grabbed his communicator. How did this happen? Unknown, Commander. The cell door just opened. He walked out. Where is he now? Level 14, Section C. He's not running. He's just walking. Raxthor pulled on his uniform and ran to the bridge. Captain Doyen was already there, watching the security feeds. On the screens, they could see Lee Minho strolling through the corridors. He had no weapons, no armor. He moved slowly, like a tourist examining an interesting building. Why isn't he running? Raxthor demanded. I don't know, Doyen said. His voice was tight with fear. Security teams appeared on the screens, weapons raised. Stop, get on the ground. Minho stopped walking. He looked at the soldiers calmly. Then he moved. It happened so fast the cameras barely caught it. Minho stepped forward, grabbed the first soldier's weapon, twisted it around and fired 3 shots. 3 soldiers dropped. He ducked under a blast of plasma fire, rolled, came up behind another soldier and broke his neck with a single precise strike. 5 seconds. 4 soldiers dead, the rest opened fire. But Minho was already moving, using the corridor walls and corners too fast to track. He killed 3 more with their own weapons before disappearing into a maintenance shaft. The bridge was silent. That's impossible. Raxthor whispered. One man can't fight like that. Humans can, Doyen said quietly. We just didn't believe it until now. Lock down the ship. Find him. Kill him on sight. Security teams poured through every level, but Minho stayed ahead of them. He appeared on cameras for brief moments, then vanished. He wasn't fleeing toward the shuttle bay or the escape pods. He was moving deeper into the ship. What is he doing? Raxthor asked. Doyen studied the map of the ship. He's heading toward the computer core. Stop him. But Minho reached the computer core before the security teams could arrive. The cameras showed him standing in front of a terminal, his fingers moving across the controls with impossible speed. He's accessing our systems, the communications officer reported. He's bypassing every security protocol. How does he know our codes? He doesn't need codes, Doyen realized. He memorized the system architecture. He's been watching everything since we brought him aboard. He knows our entire network. Minho typed for exactly 90 seconds. Then he stopped and looked up at the camera. He gave a small wave. He's sending a transmission, communications reported. It's heading toward human space, encrypted. We can't block it or decrypt it. What is he sending? Unknown. But the encryption is military grade. Black operations level. The security teams burst into the computer core. Minho didn't fight this time. He raised his hands and smiled. I'm done. You can take me back now. They dragged him back to the detention level. This time they used double restraints and posted 20 guards outside his cell. Raxthor stood in the observation room, his scales dark with anger. What did you send? He demanded through the intercom. My weekly report, Minho answered. He was sitting on his bed again, looking completely relaxed. I always keep my superiors informed. You said you were a prisoner. A criminal. I am. But I'm also useful. Earth has learned that throwing me away is wasteful. So they found another purpose for me. Doyen felt his blood turn to ice. You're still working for them, in a manner of speaking. I solve problems. And you, Commander Raxthor, are a problem. Me? The Vakrine Empire has been expanding toward human space for the last 5 years. Your ships appear in our territory. Your scouts map our colonies. Your high command plans for war. Humans don't want war with the Vakrine, so they sent me to provide an alternative. One man, Raxthor said. You're one man. Yes, just like I was on Proxima 7. The lights in the observation room flickered, then went out completely. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red light. What's happening? Raxthor shouted. Ship-wide system malfunction, someone reported from the bridge. Multiple failures across all levels. Life support, navigation, weapons, everything is glitching. He did this, Doyen said. Whatever he uploaded to the computer core, it's spreading through our network. Dr. Park Jiwon ran into the observation room carrying her datapad. Her hands were shaking. I found something in his ship. His personal files. You need to see this. She pulled up a document on the screen. It was a journal, handwritten with detailed notes. Species Observation Log, Entry 47. The Vakrine Empire. Population, 140 billion across 32 worlds. Military structure, hierarchical, values honor and tradition over tactical flexibility. Cultural weakness, Leadership caste makes all strategic decisions. Recommended pacification strategy. Raxthor's voice failed. 47 species? Look at the dates, Juan said. These entries span 3 years. He's been free this entire time, moving through space, studying aliens. Most of these species, she scrolled down, most of them don't exist anymore. He's been exterminating civilizations, Doyen whispered. No, Jiwan corrected. He's been preparing, learning, gathering information. And now he's here and we brought him to our flagship. How did his ship get damaged? Raxthor asked. It wasn't damaged, Jiwan said. I examined the wreckage in our cargo bay. The damage is fake, carefully designed to look real but actually harmless. The ship is filled with sophisticated hacking equipment. It's still attached to our hull right now, probably still transmitting. Raxthor ran to the bridge.
Destroy that ship!
Cut it loose and blow it apart. We can't, Commander. It's fused to our hull. The connection is reinforced. It would take hours to cut it free, then blow it up anyway. That will damage our own hull. We could lose atmosphere in 3 decks. Raxthor slammed his fist on the console. He planned this, all of it. He wanted us to capture him. Doyen turned to Jiwan. Why? What does he gain? She showed him another page of the journal. Access. He needed to see inside a Vakreen ship, learn our technology, map our systems, and most importantly, he needed to get close to our leadership. We're taking him to Vakreen Prime, Doyen said suddenly. The High Command ordered it. Public trial in the capital city. Oh God, Jiwan breathed. That's exactly what he wants. He doesn't care about escaping. He cares about studying us. And you're bringing him to the heart of your empire. Raxthor spun around. Change course. We're not going to Vakreen Prime. We can't disobey the High Command, his first officer said, then contact them. Tell them the prisoner is too dangerous. Sir, the High Command has been broadcasting our capture across all Vakreen worlds. The population is celebrating. The news feeds are showing your face, calling you a hero. If we refuse to bring the human to trial now, it will look like cowardice. Raxthor felt trapped. His pride, his honor, his career all demanded he follow orders, but his instincts screamed danger. In the detention cell, Minho stood up and walked to the transparent barrier. Commander, he said through the intercom, you're wondering what to do. So let me help you understand your options. I don't need your help. You have 2 choices. First, you can kill me now, destroy my body completely. But if you do, the programs I uploaded to your computer core will activate fully. Your ship will become uncontrollable. You'll drift in space until life support fails. You're lying. Second, you can take me to Vakreen Prime as ordered. Bring me before your High Command. Let me see your capital world, your defenses, your infrastructure, and when I'm done learning everything I need to know, I'll give you a third option. What option? Peace. Withdraw your forces from human space. Sign a treaty. Go home, or, Minho smiled, I'll show you what I'm really capable of. Not on some distant colony, not on a small world like Proxima 7, but on Vakreen Prime itself. 14 billion people. Your entire government. Your families. Your children. The bridge was silent. You wouldn't, Raxthor said. 40 million on Proxima 7, Minho said calmly. Do you really want to test me? Doyen grabbed Raxthor's arm. We have to kill him. Now. Whatever happens to the ship, we can't let him reach Vakreen Prime. Raxthor looked at the human in the cell. Those cold, empty eyes. That emotionless face, then he thought of his people. His honor. His duty. No, he said. We follow orders. We take him to trial, and we show the universe that Vakreen cannot be intimidated. Minho nodded slowly. As you wish, Commander. The jump to hyperspace engaged. Destination, Vakreen Prime, and Minho began counting down in his head. Vakreen Prime filled the view screen as the flagship dropped out of hyperspace. The planet was beautiful, covered in purple oceans and silver cities. 14 billion Vakreen lived on the surface. It was the crown jewel of the Empire. Prepare for orbital approach, Commander Raxthor ordered. He stood straight, trying to look confident, but his hands wouldn't stop shaking. News feeds across the planet were already broadcasting. The human prisoner was here. The monster from the stars would face Vakreen justice. Billions watched as the flagship descended toward the capital city. In his cell, Lee Minho stared out the small window. He studied the planet below with those cold, analytical eyes. He was memorizing everything. The orbital platforms, the defense satellites, the shield generators, the city layouts, and what are you thinking? Dr. Park Ji-won asked. She was standing in the observation room watching him. That it's beautiful, Minho said. Your people built something magnificent here. They're not my people. No, you're human. Like me. He turned to look at her. Do you ever regret leaving Earth? I didn't leave. I was captured? Were you? Minho smiled slightly. Or did you get too close to Vacrine space on purpose? Were you gathering intelligence for Earth? Ji-won's face paled. I'm a neuroscientist. I was on a research mission, perhaps. Or perhaps we're more alike than you want to admit. She backed away from the window. I'm nothing like you. We'll see. The flagship landed at the capital city's military spaceport. Thousands of Vacrine filled the streets outside, held back by security barriers. They wanted to see the human. They shouted and cheered as soldiers brought Minho down the boarding ramp in heavy restraints. Minho walked calmly through the crowd, looking at everything. He studied the buildings, the vehicles, the technology. His mind was working constantly, recording, analyzing, planning. They brought him to the High Justice Hall, a massive building in the center of the city. The trial would be broadcast across every Vacrine world. 100 billion people would watch. The courtroom was enormous. 300 members of the High Council sat in tiered seats around a central platform. At the top, the Supreme Magistrate looked down with stern eyes. Lee Minho of Earth, the magistrate said, you stand accused of trespassing in Vacrine space. How do you plead? Guilty, Minho said simply. A murmur ran through the council. Most prisoners spent hours denying charges. You also stand accused of killing 7 Vacrine soldiers, the magistrate continued. Guilty. And you stand accused of sabotaging Vacrine military vessels. Guilty. The magistrate leaned forward. Do you have anything to say in your defense? No defense, Minho said. But I do have an explanation. Speak. Minho turned to face the entire council. His voice was clear and calm. The Vacrine Empire has been expanding toward human space for 5 years. Your ships map our colonies. Your military plans for invasion. You see us as weak because we avoid contact. You're wrong. This is a trial, not a political forum, the magistrate said. This is both, Minho countered. You want to understand humans? Let me show you what we are. He gestured to a screen. May I present evidence? The magistrate hesitated, then nodded. Minho accessed a datapad the guards had brought. Images appeared on the courtroom screens. Military reports. Recordings of battles, documents. This is the Vacrine Third Fleet, Minho said, pointing at a battle recording. 5 years ago, you attacked the Lythran Federation. Population 7 billion. The Lythrans resisted for 3 months before surrendering. Your forces killed 400 million civilians during occupation. We brought order to their worlds, Raxthor said from his seat. You brought subjugation, Minho corrected. This is the Theron Collective. 9 billion people. You conquered them 4 years ago. They resisted harder, so you used chemical weapons on their population centers. 2 billion dead. More images appeared. More conquered worlds. More casualties. 14 species in the last decade, Minho continued. All attacked by Vacrine forces. All absorbed into your empire. You call it bringing civilization. We call it genocide. This trial is about your crimes, the magistrate said angrily. Not ours. My crime is defending human space against an aggressive empire, Minho said. Your crime is believing you could threaten Earth without consequences. One man cannot threaten an empire. Minho smiled. Can't I? Let me tell you what I've done in the last 7 days. Since you captured me, I've been transmitting continuously. Every Vacrine ship I touched, every facility I entered, every system I accessed, I've mapped completely. Your entire military network. The council erupted in shouts. The magistrate called for order. You're lying, Raxthor said, standing. Our systems are encrypted. Impossible to hack. I didn't hack them, Minho said. You gave me access. You brought me aboard your flagship. You took me to your computer core. You flew me to your capital world. I've been gathering intelligence every single moment. And I've been sending it all back to Earth. Captain Doyen stood up from his seat, his face gray. What have you done? This trial is broadcast across all Vacrine worlds, Minho said. Which means I'm broadcasting too. Right now, my ship, still attached to the flagship in orbit, is transmitting my override codes into your planetary defense network. The screens around the courtroom flickered. Then they changed. Instead of showing Minho, they showed security camera feeds. defense stations, orbital weapons platforms, power grids, and all of them were shutting down. What is this? The magistrate demanded. This is your choice, Minho said calmly. I'm offering you peace. Withdraw all Vakreen forces from the disputed systems. Sign a non-aggression treaty with Earth. In exchange, I'll restore your systems. You're one man giving orders to an empire? Yes. We could execute you right now. You could. But I've designed a failsafe. If my life signs stop, every system I've infiltrated will activate fully. Permanently. Your orbital defense platforms will fire on your own cities. Your power grids will overload. Your life support systems in underground facilities will fail. And your atmosphere processors? Minho paused. Well, you can guess what I'll do with those. The courtroom fell silent. Proxima 7, Doyen whispered. You'll do the same thing here. Worse, Minho said. Proxima 7 was a colony of 40 million. Vakreen Prime has 14 billion. And I've had 7 days to prepare instead of 7 hours. The magistrate stood. You're insane. I'm practical. Your empire started this conflict. I'm ending it. The only question is how many people die before you accept reality. Raxthor pushed through the crowd toward the platform. You can't do this. It's murder, terrorism. It's war, Minho corrected. You brought war to human space. I'm bringing it here. To your home. So you can understand what it feels like. We've done nothing to Earth. Yet, but you were planning to. I've seen your military reports. Your invasion plans. You believe humans are weak because we avoid contact. You were going to test that belief with force. I'm here to save you from that mistake. The council erupted in arguments. Some demanded his immediate execution. Others called for negotiation. The magistrate tried to restore order but failed. Minho stood silent on the platform, waiting. His face showed no emotion. No fear, no guilt. Just patience. Dr. Park Ji-won watched from the side of the courtroom. She understood now. Earth hadn't sent Minho to negotiate. They'd sent him to terrify. To show the Vakreen what humans could do. To make peace through overwhelming threat. It was brilliant. It was horrifying. It was working. The magistrate finally restored order. What are your demands? Simple. Immediate withdrawal from all systems within 50 light-years of human space. Full non-aggression treaty. Technology exchange to prove your commitment. And I want it signed within 48 hours. That's impossible. The council needs time to discuss. You have 48 hours, Minho interrupted. After that, I'll demonstrate what happens when you refuse. I'll start with the capital city. Population centers first. Then infrastructure. Then agriculture. I'll turn your crown jewel into a graveyard. You wouldn't. I've already killed 40 million people, Minho said quietly. What's 14 billion more? The terrible thing was, Ji-won realized he wasn't bluffing. He meant every word. He would actually do it. And that was when she understood the true horror. Minho wasn't just a weapon. He was a demonstration. He was Earth saying, we have people like this. People who will do anything. People who feel nothing. And if you push us, we'll point them at you. The Vakreen had caught a human, but they hadn't caught a soldier. They'd caught the Reaper, and now he was loose in their capital city. 30 hours after the trial, the death toll reached 40,000. Not from Lee Minho's attacks. From chaos, power outages caused accidents in the cities. Climate control systems failed, creating heat waves and storms. Transportation networks crashed. People panicked. They fought each other for resources. They rioted in the streets. Commander Raxthor stood in the High Command Center watching the reports flood in. His world was falling apart, and the human was still sitting calmly in his cell. We should execute him, Raxthor said again. He'd been saying it for hours. If we do, the failsafe activates, Captain Doyen reminded him. Everything gets worse. It can't get worse than this. Yes, it can. Right now we have 40,000 dead. If Minho's systems activate fully, it'll be millions. Then billions, Raxthor slammed his fist on the console. We're the Vakreen Empire. We don't surrender to one man. Maybe we should, Doyen said quietly. What? He's offering peace, a treaty. Withdrawal from disputed territory. In exchange, he stops. That's not surrender. That's negotiation. We look weak, we look smart, we avoid genocide. Raxthor turned away. His pride hurt worse than any wound. But he couldn't argue with the numbers. 40,000 dead in 30 hours. The High Council was in emergency session arguing constantly. Half wanted to fight, half wanted to negotiate. Time was running out. In his cell, Minho sat on his bed and counted. 18 hours until his deadline. He'd already planned what would happen next. First, he'd target the capital city's water treatment plants, then the power grid, then the hospitals. Layer by layer, he'd dismantle their civilization until they accepted his terms. It wasn't personal. It was mathematics. Fear divided by time equals compliance. A door opened. Kim Do-yeon walked into the cell alone without guards. That's dangerous, Minho observed. I could kill you. You could, Do-yeon agreed. But you won't, because I'm not here to fight. Then why are you here? To understand. Do-yeon sat down across from Minho. Why this? Why become a monster? Minho tilted his head. I'm not a monster. Monsters act without reason. I act with perfect reason. You kill millions of people. I prevent billions of deaths. The Kryn War would have lasted years. Millions of humans would have died. Billions of Kryn. I ended it in 3 days with 40 million casualties. That's a 97% reduction in projected deaths. But those 40 million were innocent. No one is innocent in war. They supported their government. They paid taxes that funded the military. They raised children who became soldiers. In a total war, everyone contributes to the death machine. Minho's voice remained calm, emotionless. I simply calculated the most efficient way to stop the machine. What about guilt? Remorse? I don't feel those things. I never have. It makes me very good at my job. Do-yeon stared at him. You're talking about yourself like you're a tool. I am a tool. Earth made me one. They recognized what I was when I was young. No empathy, high intelligence, perfect for tasks that would break normal people. So they trained me, gave me education, taught me strategy and tactics. Then they pointed me at their enemies. They created you. They shaped me. Minho corrected. I was born this way. They just decided how to use it. He leaned forward. Every civilization has people like me. Sociopaths. People who don't feel connections to others. Most societies try to fix us or lock us away. Humans learn to weaponize us. That's horrifying. That's practical. Your empire uses soldiers who feel loyalty and honor. Humans use soldiers who feel nothing. Which one wins? Do-yeon had no answer. You should run, Minho said softly. Tell your family to evacuate the capital. You have 18 hours. Get them somewhere safe. The High Council won't allow evacuations. It would create more panic. Then your family will die with everyone else. The cold certainty in those words broke something in Do-yeon. He stood up and left without speaking. Outside the cell, Dr. Park Ji-won was waiting. Did you learn anything? He's exactly what his file said. No emotions. No conscience. Just logic and math. And Earth uses him. Yes. Ji-won pulled up a message on her datapad. I received this an hour ago. From Earth's shadow government. They know I'm here. They've been monitoring everything through Minho's transmissions. Do-yeon read the message. His blood went cold. They're offering to recall him. If we sign the treaty within 12 hours. It's not an offer. It's a threat. Sign or they let him continue. But this says, Do-yeon scrolled down. This says Minho has done this before. 17 times. 17 different species. Some surrendered. Some didn't. And the ones who didn't? Do-yeon showed her the list. Extinct. All of them. Ji-won closed her eyes. How many people has he killed? The file says over 300 million. Across 17 worlds, and Earth just lets him? They don't just let him. They deploy him. They point him at problems and let him solve them in the most brutal way possible. Then they deny any connection. They tell everyone he's a rogue criminal. But the truth is, Do-yeon's voice shook. The truth is he's their secret weapon. And they've been using him for years. 12 hours before the deadline, the High Council reached a decision. They would negotiate. The cost was too high. The risk too great. Commander Raxthor was ordered to deliver the news. He walked to the detention level like a man going to his execution. His honor was destroyed. His career was over. But his people would live. He stood outside Minho's cell. The High Council has accepted your terms. Minho nodded. Smart choice. We'll withdraw our forces. Sign the treaty. Give you the technology exchange. Good. And you'll restore our systems? Once the treaty is signed and verified, yes. Raxthor's hands clenched into fists. I want you to know something. You didn't win through strength or courage. You won through terror, through threatening children and families. That's not victory. That's cowardice. Minho stood up and walked to the barrier. Commander, I don't care what you call it. I care about results. Your people are alive. My people are safe. The war that would have killed billions will never happen. That's all that matters. You're a monster. Yes, and your empire created the need for me. If you hadn't expanded toward human space, if you hadn't planned invasion, Earth would never have sent me. I'm not the disease, Commander. I'm the symptom. The treaty was signed 6 hours later. Vacrine forces withdrew from disputed systems. Technology was exchanged. Minho provided the codes to restore all systems. True to his word, everything came back online. The power grid stabilized. Climate control returned. Transportation networks resumed. The crisis ended, but the damage was done. 40,000 dead, countless injured. Infrastructure destroyed. And worse, the Vacrine Empire's reputation was shattered. They had been forced to surrender to one human. What happens to him now? Doyen asked the High Council. The Supreme Magistrate looked tired, old. We can't execute him. The failsafe might still activate. We can't release him. He's too dangerous. We can't keep him here. Every day he's on our world is a risk. So what do? We send him away, to a remote facility, keep him alive but isolated, and we pray Earth never sends him again. They built a prison on a dead moon at the edge of Vacrine space. Maximum security. 1 prisoner. 1 guard. Dr. Park Ji-won volunteered for the position. She couldn't return to Earth. She knew too much. And somehow, in a twisted way, she understood Minho better than anyone. On the day of the transfer, Minho walked to the transport ship without restraints. He didn't need them.
He had won.
He had no reason to fight. Doyen came to see him off. Why did you volunteer for this mission? You could have just transmitted the information. Why come in person? Minho looked at him with those empty eyes. Because information isn't enough. People need to see, to feel, to understand what humans are capable of. Now every species in this region knows. Earth has weapons like me, and we will use them. You're not a weapon. You're a person. I stopped being a person a long time ago. Maybe I never was one. Minho turned aboard the ship. Tell your people something, Captain. Tell them that 40,000 died to save billions. Tell them that sometimes the only way to prevent war is to be so terrifying that no one dares fight you. That's not peace. That's fear. Peace and fear are the same thing, Captain. They always have been. The ship took off. Minho sat in the hold watching Vacrine Prime shrink in the window. He felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret. Just the calm emptiness that had always been inside him. Years later, a new species approached human space with hostile intent. They were powerful, aggressive. They refused diplomatic contact. Earth's shadow government sent them a message. A simple video file. It showed Lee Minho sitting in his cell on the dead moon. He looked directly at the camera and spoke in their language, which he had learned just for this recording. My name is Lee Minho. Before you attack Earth, let me tell you about a place called Proxima 7, and about another place called Vacrine Prime. I visited both. The Kryn no longer exist. The Vacrine signed a peace treaty. You have a choice. The video ended. The hostile species withdrew from human space without another word. In her quarters on the prison moon, Dr. Park Ji-won brought Minho his evening meal. She'd been his guard for 3 years now. They rarely spoke. But tonight she had a question. Was it worth it? Everything you've done? Minho looked at her. I don't understand the question. 40,000 dead versus 200 million. The mathematics are simple. You're not human anymore.